get another job. About 30 plus young women. I got one guy that I mentor, but the rest of them are young, usually minority females, about branding. And the very first thing I tell them is be aware of your own brand, right? Knowing your brand creates confidence, and it'll actually have you dictate to yourself being that self-awareness piece. Because one thing that young ladies do, we doubt ourselves constantly. Oh my world, if I need this cert, I need this, and not saying guys don't do it too, because I've heard guys say, I need this cert, and if I need to work towards my CISSP, you know you need to be in the industry for 5 years before you even really can take the CISSP. So let's don't think that all of your confidence should come from the amount of certifications that you have, right? So your branding, you have to determine for yourself, again, as Renee was talking about, as you walk out the door, especially women, they're going to look at your appearance immediately. And being sometimes the only African-American, what did I say yesterday? I was the 121st Black female special agent in the however long FBI existed, right? So there was no, in my FBI class, I was the only African-American. It was 50% male and female, but I was the only African-American. That was 2002. And that creates some opportunities for resiliency, you know, this stuff. But I mean, you oftentimes you have to know that going in. You have to know going in that I may be the only one, and I have to be able to stand on my own. Don't, you know, that self-awareness, that self-actuality, you don't come into a conference. One of the things that, you know, my mentees ask me, they say, oh, well, Mary, you know, how do you get known at a conference? I said, first of all, I need to be on stage. I said, second of all, if I'm not on stage, I'm asking a question. There are many, not in this particular conference, but if you're the only African-American female in the room, which I've been at these conferences, if I stand up and ask the question, they're going to remember me a lot more than I will remember some random white guy. Sorry, white guys. White guys, I'm sorry. But that's the honest truth. They're going to remember me. So I have to put myself out there because the conversation has to start changing about the intelligence of women and minorities in this field. And the only way it's going to change is by actually being visible. You have to remain visible. And those things, that happens when and I know I didn't talk about self-awareness, I talked about something else. But in understanding that you have a voice, you're here, don't cower, don't hide. It's time to step up and get on stage and ask questions and be relevant and things like that. I think that the whole idea of confidence, though, is one that I get a lot of questions about.
Yes.
You want to talk?
Definitely, definitely. So how many people in the room have ever felt inadequate? Okay, everybody pretty much, right? Okay. Y'all need to stop that. Okay? Y'all need to stop that. Because y'all saw how many people raised their hand. That means most of the time when you're sitting there feeling inadequate, the person next to you feeling inadequate too. Right? So you have to be confident enough in your own abilities, right? So when I talk about self-actualization, you have to know that you know what you know. Okay? Be ready and be comfortable enough with your own self to realize, hey, I don't know everything. I need to seek mentorship. I need to realize that I don't know what I'm doing here, and I need to seek out how I'm going to fill my own gaps. Okay? A lot of times people don't want to hear that. A lot of times people don't want to hear that. Y'all should hear how Mary and I talk to each other. What we really say to each other, girl, you need to right with doing that. You have to realize, because those of you all were here last night when Ms. Essie Miller spoke. Essie said, I want you to come through, when you come through, your package got to be tight, right? Make sure your package is tight. Make sure that you have what you need, and you've taken the time to get the skills, try to get the experience, make sure how you're presenting it is tight. It cannot look haphazard, okay? Look at yourself, figure out, hey, Renee don't know this, Renee needs this, and that. But at the same time, when I'm trying to fill in some gaps, hey, I'm pretty good on these fronts. So I'm gonna take those fronts and I'm gonna move forward with them, right? Don't let that hold you back. Another tip that I wanna leave you guys with is getting your own personal board. So every corporation, organization gets a board, right? They have a board of advisors. I have my own personal board of advisors.
I'm not on it though.
She on it in so many ways. Personal, health, the whole nine. You have to have that. You gotta have your own personal board, right? Because there are times where Renee, as confident as I am, sometimes I'm like, I wonder which card I need to play on this. I need to get somebody else's perspective of what's going on. I need somebody to help me navigate through this situation. So I hate to keep picking on Devin, right? But so
I'm
Devin,
a proxy for everybody else.
okay, so Devin, I didn't realize last night that he and I were talking, we've known each other for almost 20 years. That's a long time. But when I'm about to make a move, I just recently made a move, right? And I was like, let me hit Devin up, see what Devin got to say about this, what you think, right? So I got Devin's point of view. Then I had a couple more people, right? Some of them don't look like me, right? Because my board is made up of all kinds of people, right? So don't always think you got to get a board member that looks exactly like you. But here are some key things that you have to have in your board member. The board member has to be authentic. If they're not authentic, they don't need to be on your board. They're just an associate. They're not a board member, okay? The board member has to have your best interest in mind. If they don't have your best interest in mind, that's just an associate. That's not a board member, right? The board member has to want to see you succeed. It can't be somebody that's going to block your port, right? It can't be somebody that's going to have the crab in the basket mentality, right? Y'all know what I'm talking about.
We already know.
And so you have to seek out board members from all different walks of life. I have board members that look like me. I have some that don't look like me. But what I make sure that I do is I take data points from each one of my board members. Now, do I take, when a board member says X, I go out and run and do exactly X? No. I take in those data points. And as I'm taking in those data points, I then can figure out what is the best way for me to move forward. Because you can't do this by yourself. I don't want anybody to think, if you go and you Google me and you see my career and you see all the accolades and all that stuff, that was done alone. It was not.
No.
By no way, shape, or form. It was done because I had mentorship, sponsorship. I had a loving family supporting me, listening to me whine. I know my daughter listens to me every day. These people got on my nerves. So it is not something that's done in a vacuum. Those decisions that you have to make, if you think that you're stepping out alone and you're only by yourself, you're wrong and you're making the decisions incorrectly. It is all right to have and build a support system, and to build that support system from people who look different than you, people glean to people who look like them, right? But some of my best advice has come from people who didn't look like me. My sponsorship definitely has come from people who did not look like me. And so you have to be able to open your ears and your mind to something new and be able to give as well. One thing my daddy always said is that nothing comes to a closed hand. So as I'm taking, y'all write that one down. As I am taking, right, as I'm going out and I am receiving from my different mentors across this country. And I've been so blessed to have major admirals and CEOs of companies and people that I can't even believe that I even know them, you know? Mentor and sow into me. Then what does that mean for Renee? What does Renee have to do? Renee then has to sow into others.
And I also want to say we have to start supporting each other a lot more.
Yes.
I have a group of girls in the field, and we have this strategy, and I'm gonna tell you guys this because you'll see it in action a little later. One of the things that we do is if either one of us or the folks in the group post something on LinkedIn, like it, share it, you'll be amazed. I'm amazed at how many people that came up to me in this conference. Oh, Mary, I see you. I see all your posts. I don't know. There's 2,300 people on my, and I don't know everyone. And if you're connected with me on LinkedIn and you haven't introduced yourself to me, shame on you, right? But what we do, we like and we share each other's posts because again, as we start talking about the optics and changing the game and changing the narrative about women and minorities in this field, not being technical enough. It's some geeks here. It's some really sharp geeks here. And so again, and supporting one another, it could just be a simple like and share. But then it starts to, it's the optics of it. You start to see people that are people of color. You start to see more women. You start to see Kavya, who, a Muslim, she was fully covered yesterday, as not looking at them in that way, but as a subject matter expert in the field. And I think Eric is standing back there because we didn't talk too much and we have to ask questions. You got questions?
Oh, we got questions.
I'm sitting down.
Anybody have questions?
I won't make my other
Hello?
Yeah.
So you were talking about respect earlier. I have to hold myself back from checking people because I already know once you do that in the work environment, there is a stereotype around that. So when you say that you command or there must be respect, how do you politely check someone in the work environment?
I do it just like you said, I'm very polite with it. I am very polite with it. I can demonstrate.
Look, Renee.
You don't want
We don't role play?
We gonna role play. We gonna role play. No, seriously, all jokes aside. I don't have a poker face. And I know I have a sharp tongue. But it's the way that I use it. So, you picking up on it though, right? It's a prison, and that's all you need. But if I walk in that room, and I have that lean and I point that finger, and I say, let me be clear. It's a right way and a wrong way to do it. I am very polite with it. I really am. I check people all the time. I do. I check people sometimes on a regular basis.
Can I? I also wanted to respond to that because I find that I have to check people too.
but I'm a big relationship builder, and so I want to be able to check what happened while still keeping the relationship intact.
That's
So,
why I do it politely.
yes. So one of the things that I found that I had to do, in addition to speaking politely, is one, I try not to check people in front of other people. So I try to make it a one-on-one so that they're not feeling defensive. So I think that's really important. And the other thing I try to do is so that my mind is in the right place, is I try to assume the best about the person, even if what they did was just absolutely ridiculous. I try to start with like, they didn't intentionally mean to personally assault me. So let me address the situation in that way. I can give you an example. I did a presentation in front of an SVP at Google, and after the presentation, my manager said, "Miss Shea, when you smile and nod like that, you look junior. You need to look more like 3 middle-aged white men that he pointed out in the meeting." Which at the time I felt like you just told me to be something I can't be, right? I'm a black woman, I'm never going to come across as 3 middle-aged white men that you just told me to be, right? And so right then at that moment, I knew I could not articulate that without being extremely defensive and him not learning anything from it, right? And so I waited a week, and then during one of our one-on-ones, I came back to him and I was like, "Look, I just want to talk to you about something that you did that offended me, and I want you to be clear. I knew that you were trying to do it. You were trying to help me out and tell me how I should be, but let me explain to you how that sounds to me and how that would sound to any other African American on your team." Right? And we actually developed a closer relationship because we were able to have that conversation. And so in that way, like I checked him, he doesn't do it anymore, right? And he's more thoughtful about the feedback that he gives me. But I was able to do it in a way where we still have a relationship, and I didn't assume the worst of him, which made it come out differently.
Yeah, Mary is one that when it becomes a little hostile, I just drop nuggets to HR. That's how I kind of sort of deal with my issues. Because there are people in the environment that are in need of diversity training. And so I may just go and say, when was the last diversity training session that you guys had in the organization or something like that? Because what I don't do is suffer in silence anymore. I've been through some very challenging situations, and I know that HR is there to protect the company, but I'm also a lawyer, right? So it's a reason why I'm going in there and talking to you about this, and I'm trying to help you to it before you get a lawsuit. That's pretty much what I'm saying, because culturally speaking, especially if you're in a company that doesn't have a diversity training program, you may want to be wary of that company.
So I had a question. Every company claims they have a good culture, and as I'm trying to find an entry-level career, what is the best way to know if there is a good culture there for minorities in general?
Your boss, the most important person in your career is the person that you report to. You can be in a bad culture environment, but have a really good boss.
Yep.
And that person can make all the difference in the world as you're trying to navigate that company.
Yep.
Go ahead.
No.
I was just going to say, your boss. I had to start to look at that. And it's like, who's going to be there to support me? Because honestly, your first role, you may be there 2-3 years, and you're looking to move on. But you need to have a situation with that individual boss that they're supporting those goals. You go into there, you interview, you tell them what your expectations are. This is where I want to be. How are you going to help me get there? And if that person is supportive, that's what you need. The culture could be bad, but if your boss is good. But if your boss is bad, you might want to think again because it's not going to get better. Here's a question back there.
We actually have a mic right here,
Oh,
so.
sorry.
I think one of the key things about this particular topic and what you've been speaking on is the mental piece of it. It starts with your attitude and where you are mentally, and it helps, if you feel strong about yourself and know your credentials and what you're bringing to the table. It'll help you develop that personal and career firewall. And then just being aggressive in certain areas, like I said, out seeking sponsorship, mentorship, and just going after, like I said, don't take no for an answer. Like I said, Either, if you can't go straight ahead, you go around, go under, go over, you find a way.
Shoot through, shoot through.
Yep, not at the knee, but shoot through.
But
Look, one quick thing, and I just need to go back to the checking question. And I know we use the word check in jest, but I really want to almost change the term to educate. Because that's what we have to do, right? We have to be ambassadors and to help educate folks sometimes on how to interact with us, right?
Yep.
And again, that goes back to being able to set boundaries of what you will accept and what you won't.
Yep.
But you have a responsibility. You have a responsibility to educate. When I first left home back in 1985 and I was moving to Atlanta, my father didn't want me to move there, and I didn't really understand why he didn't want me to move, and he considered this deep south. Why he didn't want that? Well, he came out of a different era than I came out of. So his baby going down into the deep south meant something different to him than it meant to me. When I left home, my mama said, I need you to be the best person that you can be. And forgive me if I'm stepping on toes, I'm saying something that's not politically correct. And she said, I need you to be the best little black girl you can be. And I'm like, Mama is tripping. What is up with that? And not until I got down here did I understand what she meant, because I started to interact with people who had never interacted with anybody like me. So always remember that you are an ambassador, and you have to help educate folks to who you are, what you are, that you are more than whatever the stereotype says that you are.
There were a couple of questions. I know he didn't give me the rope.
Oh, yeah, we got the hook. I'm sorry.
I hate to cut this off, this is so good. Eric, if David, you can entertain a few more questions, I think. It's only fitting, This is too important. The young lady here, the young lady there, and the very quiet young lady that hasn't asked a question the whole time, I gotta give it to her, Dave. I gotta give it to her. So you'll be the last question. So,
Well,
ma'am.
I'll make mine quick. It's not a question, it's more sort of a comment, and I just wanted to personally thank you ladies for sharing this presentation y'all had. It was definitely helpful and encouraging, especially for young women like myself that is a student and now going into this field. These reminders are very helpful and very powerful, so I just want to thank y'all. So, yeah.
Thank you for the kind words.
Hi, Kishana Cooper, General Dynamics IT. I just wanted to thank you as well for the input. It's very valuable for us. I enjoyed both of y'all as well as the panel from yesterday. Just thinking on your various experiences and the success that you've gathered at this point in your life. If you could think back on a very challenging point, I think Mary mentioned a couple of times when you had to go in your office and cry. What piece of advice would you provide to yourself starting out in your career, given the challenge that you faced at that point? What is one piece of advice that either of you would offer, considering that hard challenge that you faced?
Resiliency. I'm not gonna let anybody stop me. I may have to go to my office and cry, but you will not stop me from getting where I wanna go.
That's right.
And honestly, if I didn't go through the things that I've been through, I wouldn't be standing here talking to you guys right now. There are no mistakes, they're just life lessons. And that's what helps build your ability to bounce back when you have those situations, right? So, I mean, given my younger self, I feel like I followed my dreams, right? I feel like everything that was exposed to me from undergraduate to law school to the FBI, it was because I was moving forward, okay? And I can't look back and say, I would change this, because I've had a ball.
Me too. I feel the exact same way. I don't think it's anything that I would really change. It's, as I said earlier, no good lesson, no valuable lesson comes without a thorn. I just took every thorn that was given to me and turned it into a rose.
Final question.
Final question.
So I'm Zani from Kennesaw State University. My question is a little bit more intimate. So there are many different definitions of success, and I just wanted to know what would be your two ladies' definition of that, and do you feel as though you are trying to continue to succeed and you haven't really gotten there yet, or you want to continue to learn and grow? Thank you.
So myself in line is I have a list of things, of goals of where I want to be from a career perspective, from a personal perspective, from a spiritual perspective, from a health perspective. So I look at those. So if I look at the maturity model of each one of those differently, then they culminate to I guess, success at some point. But I do it differently. So I can't, for me, career success is where I am right now. I love nothing more than to being on stage, being able to share my story with people. So to me, that's career success, right? The fact that I have done these things and now I can share and give back, right? But I have other things that define success to me from a personal perspective, that are very important, that I think feed into the whole career thing. At this stage of the game for me, it's about having fun, it's about giving back, it's about friendship, you know, taking the time for myself just to smell the roses, like people said. I think in the early 20s, it was just like, I gotta get here by this time, boom, 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 and I'm just hitting it, just knocking it out the box, right? Just gotta get this, gotta climb that ladder. I don't worry as much about climbing the ladder, right? Someone asked me when I became an SES in the government that, oh, did you always dream about being an SES? I was like, no. I said, when I came over here, I didn't even think about it. What I do is I execute. That's what I do. I execute and I deliver. And the byproduct of my ability to deliver are the positions that I've been allowed to hold.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I think that it's an individual. I do something similar every year in regards to bifurcating my personal goals and my business goals or my career goals. And then you have, it can get real geeky on that amount of stuff that I can actually write down, and matrix and all that other stuff, and measuring, all of that. However, if I'm happy, I'm successful.
Yeah.
And everything, if I'm not happy, it's not really exciting. But if I'm happy, if I'm good with where I am and what I'm doing, at the end of the day, that's all that I'm successful. If I'm able to take one of my mentees that are in the audience and have been here this week and actually make sure they are achieving success. That's what success looks like for me. It's about legacy at this particular point.
Yeah, at this point. And being happy, I don't know if when I was 25, if I could define happiness. Like happiness at 25 and happiness now are two different things.
Eating was good at 25.
Basically. Okay. And so I think it's important for you to determine for yourself what happiness means for you. And it changes over time. It changes over your lifetime.
And I'm sure when I get my check, I'll be really happy. I think we're done.
Last one.
It's a make it quick, but I'm going to make it quick.
Okay.
Dave was on here, but you know, this is from a younger person who's starting a career. And the question comes in that you have people with social and economics from different groups. It's the same social group, but they're different economic groups. And you're dealing with their cohorts. How do they navigate that through the career? Because you have different things that are happening. Some will suggest, oh, what do you think? Or castigates that person. So how would they navigate that? Because you were talking about developing a personal career firewall. I know how to navigate it, but how would you give advice to young people starting in that particular?
So the first thing would be when it comes to the socioeconomic thing, I was not born with a silver spoon in my mouth, right? I came from a little or nothing. But I didn't realize I was poor until I went to college and I was filling out the financial aid papers and we were right down at that poverty line. I was like, Dad, I didn't know we were poor. So I came from very humble beginnings, right? So it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter where you start out. It's about where you're finishing up and the journey along the way. But again, it goes back to where you are seeking out mentorship, seeking out watching people, even if you're too afraid to approach. Because I can remember being young and too afraid to approach somebody to actually be a mentor. You know what I did? I watched them like a hawk. They made a move, I made a move. They moved left, I moved left. I watched how they handled things. I said, okay, I know I can do that. I can figure out how to do that. I was taking in data points, figuring out how to do it, right? Figuring out, but all the while making sure Renee knew her stuff. Because Renee always had to make sure her package was tight, okay? Making sure I knew my stuff. And finding, I think there was a cartoon one time about, go find a rabbit, and you find that rabbit and hold on to that rabbit. That's what I would do. But at the same time, while you're doing that, also find a person who you don't want to be like. That's important.
Yes, it is.
Like you see a man, you're like, oh Lord, please don't ever let me do nobody like that. So you have to go seek those things out and find them out. But do not allow your station in life, how you start out, to determine where you're going to end up. I told you I started out, my house, the technology was a rotary phone on the wall with a short cord. That was it. And now, the next thing you know, I'm sitting up over at the White House, right? One had nothing to do with the other. The first time I was in a meeting and Valerie Jarrett was in the meeting, I had to look down at my feet. And I said, I think this is me. I said, for real? This is me doing this? When I look back from whence I came, never let where you start out determine where you're going to end up. And then when you seek out mentors, don't try to find them based on some socio-economic thing either. I don't care you got money in your pocket. I like what you're doing. I'm going to have to follow this over here.
Yeah, and I would add great thoughts. It's mentorship. Like I had to do all this by myself, so I would be a fool if I didn't get back.
Yeah.
Because there are plenty of people, like you say, you know how to do it. Who are you helping, right? If you've gotten to a certain place, the question is, who are you helping to pull up behind you, right? Because I've made my mistakes, but like I said, I've always been a geek. I've always been smart, and it opened doors for me. But what you said last night, B&D. We were at the table and the aesthetics, right? The play studies, the etiquettes and stuff like that. You're like, which spoon, which? And sometimes they have 7, and they talked about B&D.
Because that's what they taught me when I was a little girl, bread and drink, B&D.
So, you learn certain things that you actually now are going to start to give back. And that's the only way you learn to navigate that. Get a mentor if you don't know. And honestly, I didn't have any mentors. I've had to do all of this by myself. But like I said, I would be a fool if I didn't help out and bring somebody in.
Yeah, when we first started out in our careers, there was no ICMCP, right? You didn't have that. You didn't have, affinity groups at your companies and things like that. Those types of things didn't exist. So that's why I dare not squander the opportunity that I'm given to stand before people and share my story.
Yeah.
I dare not do that. And I had a young lady, I can't remember her name, she's in a blue shirt right there, came up to me yesterday over at the Google thing, and she knew everything about me. She was saying,
the same way.
yeah. Because you don't know, when we do these things, we don't know how we're going to affect people, right? That's why I dare not squander the opportunity, and I take it very seriously, right? When people come up to me and they say, oh, thank you for that, I appreciate when you're telling me thank you for that, but what I want you to do is I want you to go out and give to others, and go out and help pull them up.
And my last thought here, at the end of the day, I know they cut us off. I got it. My last thought is special agent with the FBI, going out to Los Angeles. When you start to value your own diversity, because as special agent with the FBI, a black female special agent, I can go anywhere I want to. I go to Rodeo Drive. I go to Compton. I go to Watts. I can be in any environment and blend as a minority. You get there, and I was messing with SU's security detail last night, and I said, well, I know you know security, right? You standing there, and I said, your average Caucasian male Marine is not gonna be, you take him to Watts, take him to Compton. he's gonna stick out like a sore thumb. So value the diversity you have, and it will take you a lot further than you think. It is not a crutch.
It is not, definitely is not.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you.